Michael, let's start with the mayoral minute, which is kind of a cute story, isn't it?
It's a good story, and I like it because he's a young man who's doing something for his community. He believes that a cricket practice net would be a good thing for his community. He and his friends, they love cricket, and they believe that it'll get them off their iPads and doing things like that. So he not only has done a petition, which has now garnered about 190 signatures on it. The one that was presented was up to about 170. But yeah, he's managed to get the media involved, and I know he's done a story with Newsport, and he's done a couple other different social media things as well to get attention to it. But he wrote me an email asking me about how he goes about getting it, and I just thought, it was a really good story. And so I said to him, well, send us your petition and I'll present that at the council, and I'll get the staff to have a look into it to see what they can do.
Terrific. Now, this deferment of infrastructure costs for the Mossman Golf Club with the RV park, what is all of that about, and what did you vote on today?
Well, the Mossman Golf Club wishes to put in an RV park, and that's really important for them as far as their revenue generators, and also it's a great thing for the Mossman community to actually be able to offer an RV facility. So they've looked at how they can do it, and of course the infrastructure charges were quite up there. So they wrote a letter to council asking council how they go about reducing those fees, and we've worked with them on different scenarios, and we've managed to get the costs down. And it is council land at the end of the day, so if anything is to go wrong, council's going to absorb it anyway. And so we thought, well, how can we do this? And we've managed to get to a place that we can offer them a good discounted price and defer the payments so they can get it open, get it running, and make it happen. And they're a non-profit group, they're a community group, they're part of our community, so it's a win-win for all of us.
And how long's it been deferred for?
2 years. They've got to get it up and running and make sure it's all going well before they have to pay it.
Well, an RV park, Lisa Scomazon, the Deputy Mayor, wasn't for the RV parks last time this was on the agenda, but she was for this one.
Well, both Councillor Nolly and Councillor Scomazon, they were against the previous model that was put up, but this is a community group that's doing it. There's no cost to council as such, so therefore, they're very supportive of it.
Foreshore management plan. Tell us about that, because there was a lot of different thoughts on that with councillors.
Yeah, it's really important that we have this foreshore management plan right, because our foreshores are part of Douglas. They're a big part of Douglas. And you have a lot of people wanting it to be regenerated and make sure we don't have constant erosion, but you also have people that own land on the foreshore that have views, and there's other historical areas along the foreshore as well that we also need to maintain and look after. So there's been some controversy over different sites, and we've managed to sit down with the staff and work out a way that we can get a balance. And it's a 3-year plan, and we're hoping that what's in it will work, and that the staff can work with it to achieve the environmental goals that we need to achieve, but also get the goals for the community, for those people that wanted those special things that were, like example, 4 Mile Beach. There's a certain area of land there. It was some coconut trees that were planted by the diggers. It is registered with the Historical Society. They were the ones who supported this, and it also was a great wedding venue. So that hasn't been maintained as that. It was maintained as just foreshore, and the staff were wanting to revegetate it, yet other people were saying, well, no, it needs to be preserved. It's an historical site. And so there was disputes happening, and people were going in and cleaning it up themselves, which isn't appropriate. It's a council piece of land, and the council needs to be one to maintain it. So now with this, council will go in and they will maintain it to a high standard to ensure that it can go back to being a wedding venue again. And this historical section of land where the diggers planted these coconut trees will be preserved for history. And along with that, we've got different areas where there are windows that are current, that have been there historically for many, many years, and they'll be looked after in an appropriate way where they'll still be revegetated, but you'll still be able to maintain views as such. But it's really important that we also concentrate on illegal clearing at the same time to ensure that our foreshores remain that way. So when you're looking down 4 Mile Beach, for example, all you can see is trees and not houses, and that's really important. It's part of what Douglas is.
The Deputy Mayor said that the foreshore over the years previously have not really been maintained properly.
Well, it's a choice of maintaining properly or trying to regenerate naturally. There's a big push on letting just the palms fall to the ground and let them become compost, which is great as far as environmentally goes, but it's also quite ugly in tourist areas. So we're trying to balance the things out so that, a tourist comes along and they can see our beach and it looks like it's being cared for. And in those areas where nature needs to do what nature does, that can also occur.
Michael, Marine Rescue Services, Port Douglas, what's going on there?
Well, this is just a standard lease that they have. Of course, they use the building next to the tin shed there for storing their flares and their boat and all those rescue things that they need. And, it's council land and it's a council property, so we do a lease with them. Now, unfortunately, there was a dispute that went on between the Coast Guard and that group, and then they changed to a different group, and there's still different things being sorted out at the moment. So for the time being, we do a lease with the QFIS instead, and they hold the lease on the property just so that they can use the facility, and we're legally covered because we've got a lease on it whilst this dispute's happening. And eventually, of course, that'll be finalised and we'll be able to do a lease with the new body that looks after our marine rescue.
Terrific. And just one other item, and that was the Shire Hall at Mossman. You've rented out part of it, and you've rented it out to really help the youth in our Shire.
Yeah, this is continuing the services that they offer there at the moment, just making sure we've got a place there where the youth can go and they can get advice, they've got someone to talk to, they can be entertained, gives them something to do rather than just hanging around on the streets.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.